Welcome to the Three Man Weave Show, hosted by SportsbookReview.com. We are jovial because it's Thursday, and that is an awesome day for college basketball. So many good games today on the slate, as my friend Harry pointed out in the chat. I am stoked. Jim is stoked. Matt is stoked. Before we get into all of that, though, please, as we always say, like and subscribe to SBR Sports Picks. That is the YouTube channel we are on right now. Also, sbrpicks.com/NCAAB is a site for all the college basketball content you can handle. There's also a March Madness site, guys. It is pinned at the very top of the chat right now, sbrpicks.com/March-Madness. Check it out. Be part of the madness. Get over to the SBR Picks. Let's get some takeaways before we go down through the rundown here. Jim Root, I'm going to kick it to you first for your thoughts.
Ky just was surprised by the madness at Madison Square Garden. All three lower seeds won. We got Georgetown, DePaul, and Butler moving on, kind of in the dregs of the conference all season. They rose up yesterday, though, probably, maybe, knocked Xavier out of the NCAA tournament, certainly eliminated any chance of Providence making a run at an at-large bid. I was a little surprised. We get some craziness there, but that sets up well for the higher seeds today. Maybe. We'll see.
Ky, I have no takeaways, just a official request to launch an investigation into the point shaving scandal that was Mississippi Valley State against Prairie View A&M. The Delta Dogs, the Delta Devil Dogs, as I like to call them, were down just 22 points in the final 2 minutes. 21 points. If you saw the sequence, it's on our Twitter. Just go to the replies section. It really begs the question as to, what really transpired there when a player just simply fumbles the ball away on 2 consecutive possessions, and it doesn't shoot for the last second cover of the last game of the year of your season. I guess, Jim, you can't blame them, though. It's been a season from hell for the Delta Devils, and if they're trying to earn some coin on the side, I respect that hustle. So I guess I got to tip my cap to it.
It was as shady as it gets. We'll just say that. They're very, very sketchy to watch.
Someone pointed out in the chat, the rundown is incorrect on the screen. I did not.
Let's just do yesterday's show again. Let's just replay it. We'll pick winners this time. We'll just go back in time and do yesterday. That was
we have our outline individually, I hope. Anyways, I will say, Matt, yes, Mississippi Valley State Prairie View, like the most obvious example of point shaving I've ever seen. But my takeaway yesterday, guys, I think Louisville is out of the dance, and that's pretty shocking when thinking about the preseason position they were in. Now, the committee might give them credit for not having as many games this year. We don't know what they're going to do quite yet with the uneven games. They played just 20, but 1 win against Q1. They have a Q3 loss. A strength of schedule, a so-so net. 6-1 in Q2 is the only thing they can hang their hat on. But with Syracuse jumping in the top 40 of the net yesterday, the Orange's resume is actually better than Louisville's. That's just surprising. We thought the Cardinals were going to be a lot better this year. Yikes, tough times for Chris Mack. All right, let's get to the rundown. I know it doesn't say the real rundown, but I will lead you through it as your guide as host today. Texas Tech versus Texas is where we're starting off right now. The Red Raiders are favored in this one. Short favorites, 1.5. Guys, I'm surprised Texas isn't favored. I'll be honest.
I agree.
Ken Pom does have Texas Tech over them. Texas Tech has beaten Texas twice this year, so clearly there's some good facts behind that. But, Matthew, who do you like in this game?
I agree with you. It should be Texas should at least be a pick or a slight favorite. I don't really understand what Texas Tech has done to warrant being a 2-point favorite. I see some money's coming in on the Longhorns here, -2 down to -1.5. Light money, I'll be money as it is. I just don't want to bet against Chris Beard in a tournament setting, Jim. It's as simple as that for me. So it should be a play, but I'm staying away just out of respect for Mr. Beard.
Yeah, tournament setting, prep time against Shaka, that just makes me very, very nervous. I like what Beard's defense can do against the Texas guards. I think all year, especially in the beginning when they were running through that Maui field, we were like, man, I don't know. Their guards can take some bad shots. They can be really frustrating. And I think that kind of came to fruition down the stretch. The fact that Texas dropped out of most analytic top 25s, that's a key factor there. I mean, their big men can dominate, and they sometimes just don't get them the ball. So I don't want to be throwing things at my TV while Shaka Smart's guards do silly things. So stay away from me.
The guards, Jim, it's very much my turn, your turn. I'm going to make this shot. I'm going to take the final possession. Courtney Ramey was one of the big reasons they lost that second game to Texas Tech. The first game, they probably should have won. Texas, they shot I do think Texas wins this one. Nothing fancy here, capping wise. Just feels like the Longhorns get it done. Texas Tech obviously better coached, but I lean towards the Longhorns in this one. All right, moving on. Oklahoma State versus West Virginia. An early tip in this game, staying in the Big 12 here. Cade status, Jim. Is he playing? If so,
yes.
Do you like Oklahoma State? They just beat West Virginia without him. Shot 68% inside the arc. Yikes.
Yeah, he's playing. I think he and Likely are both expected to play. I kind of lean Oklahoma State here. I think this should be closer to a pick. That team is really good, and they're kind of, shifting defenses. It threw off West Virginia. It's another one where, Matt, sometimes we get frustrated because the guards, who are great shot makers, will ignore Culver inside. And this is a matchup where I think Culver can really dominate. The Boone brothers aren't quite the same level as him as big men. So I would probably lean towards Oklahoma State here. If it got up to 4, I would probably take a swing at it. But at 3, I'm going to stay away for now.
Yeah, I'm just a little confused why the total has been bet down. Both games were ultra high scoring. 165 when they last played on Saturday. The prior matchup, if I'm doing my math off the cuff, 171. This one opened at 151 down to 149. Maybe it's the mantra of play a team for the third time. Maybe you can sort of, there's adjustments defensively on both sides. But I'm with you, Jim. I just don't see how either team really stops the other one. So I'm actually thinking about taking the over here. Just the pace is played pretty high in both games. Bob Huggins, the whole, thought that his team's defend at a high level, he continues to reiterate how frustrated he is with his defense. He's like, you guys don't believe me. We can't guard. He's been trying to work in these weird zones. It's just kind of odd watching this West Virginia team that's basically like a shot-making reliant guard team that doesn't play much defense. So I don't know. The over is tempting, but I'm trying to respect the early steam here, Ky.
Shot reliance is the key. West Virginia finally went cold against Oklahoma State in that last game. 5 for 24 from 3. I don't think that happens again, but I tend to lean towards Oklahoma State here with the short spread. All right, guys, we're going to switch it up. We're going to go chat mob really quick here so our producers can switch the rundown for us. So Jimmy is leading us to chat mob. If you got your questions, get them in the chat. I know it's kind of early, but Jim, what do you got for us?
Yeah, we don't have a ton yet, but I'm sure more will come in as we get through the first few that we've got. We got to start with Duke, Florida State, Matthew. The Blue Devils made the push yesterday. They knocked off Louisville. Mark Williams is playing a huge role in the rotation suddenly. Do you think the Devils can keep the run going?
I kind of do, man. It's just a tough matchup, and Mark Williams continues to be the revelation for this team. He's obviously massively important in this matchup. They need some interior rim protection, especially if Duke's going to continue to, if they want to pressure Florida State gets to the rim, you got to have some resistance at the final line of defense. The early money are betting this up from Florida State -3, Florida State -4. I made this Florida State -2, and that's even docking Duke a 1.5 for playing on the back-to-back yesterday. Wow. It's just, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Number says Florida State, but I don't really want to get in this steam that Duke could certainly be putting it all together. A team that we know can play to a top 10 level when all things are clicking.
Number says Duke, right? If you made the spread lower.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Number says Duke.
Yeah, I don't know in this one. Duke does seem like it feels like Duke's going to win this ACC tournament. Just like that narrative, Jim, just keeps popping into my head. So I hate to go against that. I actually made the spread 3 or 4, so I'm staying away.
I made it 2. I'm really close to taking Duke. I think I kind of buy the voodoo run, the magic that they're going to have here. But I'll stay away. So I'm not gonna force bets after that 0-4 day for me yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep going. We got. Ky, you invited the chat, and boy, did they bust down the door. So I'm kind of scrambling to keep up with it right now.
Hey, we can go back to the rundown, Jim, and go back to the chat because we're ready. Yeah. We're ready to roll.
All right, let's do that. I will continue to assemble these.
Going back to the rundown, we were agile today, man. This is what we do. We're the weave. All right, here we go. Back to the rundown we go to Indiana versus Rutgers. The Big Ten tournament is in full swing. Rutgers, I believe the spread's actually gotten up a little bit more. Round 2, 3. Oh, sorry, 3, 3.5 now. What an awful year, Matt. It's an Indy year, we'll say, to your Hoosiers. They lost 5 straight. They're totally out of the tournament. They need at least 3 wins. 1 to get over 500, and 2 just to, feel good about making the tournament. I think they're totally out. Armaan Franklin, clearly the key. He's missed the last 3 games. Is there any shot your Hoosiers have tonight against Rutgers?
There's a shot. I mean, it's a 3-point spread. So obviously they could get hot from three. It stuff could fall their way. I just have no appetite to take Indiana here in a bad matchup without Armand Franklin. I pretty much said it all season. I don't trust the backcourt whatsoever, and I certainly don't trust it without Franklin in there, who's been kind of their steady rock, despite Finney and Durham being the veteran cogs that they expected to be those pace setters. It's really been Franklin that's been the impetus of that backcourt. Without him, it's just going to be a lot of reliance, Jim, on TJD inside, and Miles Johnson is a brick wall up front. So if you're basically going to rely on a one-dimensional IU offense, good luck.
Yeah, I'm curious, Matt, if I mean, this is kind of, we don't know that Archie will get fired or anything, but there's certainly talk about it. And will his boys fight for him today?
Right.
I mean, you can't whimper into the night in this one and just get clobbered by Rutgers. That's a trouble. I think that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back there. So curious to see if they fight. This has been bet up a little bit from what I saw. People are on the Rutgers train here. I probably lean that way just from a gut perspective, especially without Franklin. I mean, you can make his injury worth whatever you want it to at this point. He's clearly mega valuable. So, I'll stay away as well.
Yeah, I mean, Rutgers, even if they lose this game, probably still in. The record's kind of ugly, but they have the wins, I think. Beat Indiana by 14 last game. Also 2-0 against the Hoosiers this year.
Yeah.
I do lean towards Rutgers. TJD is going to get his, but it's a Rutgers lean for me. All right, moving on. Michigan State and Maryland staying in the Big Ten. Maryland actually is a slight favorite here. -1, -1.5. Michigan State, guys, they're in the field right now. They'd 100% be in with a win. Matt, they might even get there with a loss, curiously enough. And since February 20th, they've beaten Illinois, Ohio State, and Michigan. This team's playing more and more like themselves. Although, Matt, all those games were at home. Does it matter in a tournament setting? Do you believe in Tom Izzo?
Oh, absolutely, I do. Surprised that they actually opened Maryland a favorite, I believe, and the early money quickly corrected that. I made this Michigan State -2, and it currently sits at -2. So I guess I'm a sharp for the SBR odds page. Just no real read for me here, Ky. I think it's a good matchup. I want to say, Jim, for the Terps, they don't really have a true big guy inside. There's 1 year Michigan State lacks interior girth. It's certainly this season. So I don't know, tough read for me on the matchup, and I think the value's been straightened out to where there's no play for me.
Yeah, it's at -1 basically across the board when I'm looking at right now current. So I'm taking Michigan State -1. It's kind of
flipped. My bad.
It's back to Maryland favor. I'm sorry, you're right.
I thought Maryland was favored.
Michigan State -1 is the current one I'm seeing. Someone in the chat said Michigan State -1. So
Jeepers creepers.
That's what I'm going with. It's a little bit of a gut feel. It's a little bit of a matchup, but I just think Michigan State's kind of undervalued still, being weighed down by the poor play of the early season. They've sort of figured things out with Henry taking the lead role. Langford, Watts has been a little bit better. So I'm going to go with Sparty here. They did lose to Maryland late in the season, but it was a tougher schedule spot for them. So I will take Sparty.
Jim, can I join you? I'm going to join you.
No, you were 1 point away, and you said the value was gone.
I'm going to join you. I did not. I'm reading the odds page. Yeah, so Maryland favored. Absolutely. I got to take Michigan State here as a slight dog.
They're Michigan State's favored, like Jim said again.
Why is my odds page showing the wrong? All right. I'll refresh again. Pardon me. Continue.
Harry asked about Maryland if they're in the tournament. They were a lock until they lost Northwestern and Penn State, but they are still in the top 30 of KenPom. Still have a strong net. I think they are in either way. It's going to be like maybe even a play-in game or an 11 seed, but I do think they're in. In that game, Maryland beat Michigan State, Jim, 23-24 from the line. I mean, holy cow. That's just fantastic for the Terps. I do lean towards Michigan State. Okay, Jim, are you ready for us to go back to chat mob questions?
Yeah, I've got quite a list here, so we can do as many as we want.
All right, we're sending back to chat mob.
All right, we should go I'm not going to go quite in orders because of the time chronology here. Ed Redmond wants to know about the early game. Toledo, Ball State starts in 45 minutes, guys. Obviously, the big favorite, Rockets, #1 seed in the MAC. Spread feels steep, but again, I do not fade Toledo. I am not a person that will ever do that again. Are either of you going to take the plunge?
Nope, I've learned my lesson, Jim. I'm on the road to recovery, a proud member of Toledo Faders Anonymous. Even though I did make this line 6, the principles that you've laid out for me are very clear. I'm not fading them. So, Ky, you?
Not fading him, not taking Toledo either in this game. Stay away.
Yeah, stay away from me too. Maybe if you wanted to go on total and over, but it's been bet up from what I see, so I'm not gonna recommend that. All right, Nick Loya curious about a massive bubble battle, guys. This is basically a loser leaves town game. St. John's and Seton Hall in the Big East. Matt, you have anything here?
Jim, I'm a Pirate boy today. It's a Pirate's life for me. I just think it's a classic team on late regular season losing streak. Gonna flip the script. Posh Alexander status today, especially if he's out. I like it even more. I still like it if he does.
He has said he is playing.
He's playing. Okay. I'm gonna bet on a less than 100% Posh. I still like the Pirates anything at 2 or less, so that'll be an official play for me.
Lean your way, Matthew.
I assume you want me to find you the current line, you crazy boy. I got Seton.
Yeah, I can't read grids today apparently, Jim, as I continue to convince myself that Maryland is a slight favorite.
Yeah, some of the chat said Maryland is now favored. So what I'm seeing, hard to say. We've got people saying +1.5.
A lot of action this morning. Must be an active
Somebody
market.
said +2. Yeah. So
okay.
I'll just take Michigan State -1 and sit with that. But you're looking at Hall -1.5. Matthew.
Okay, done. Hall 1.5 it is.
All right, let's keep moving. Ky, I don't know. I know you mentioned a few that you were going to be on today. So if I step on your best bet toes, just yell at me. I don't know which one we're choosing as best bet.
I still don't know.
Andrew Meistrick asked about Temple in South Florida.
Yes.
Injury questions here on both sides. South Florida could be missing Alexis Yetna and Caleb Murphy. Temple still waiting on the status of Damian Dunn. What do you got, McKeon?
I like Temple. Alexis Yetna and Caleb Murphy being out for South Florida, plus the fact Temple just beat them by 18, and I don't think it was a fluke. I do think Temple is the better team. So I am going to take Temple. Not my best bet, but I'll take Temple. I think -1.5 is the line I'm seeing, guys. If you have 2 out there, I'd take 2 as well.
Yeah, they've been terrible without Yetna, like outright horrendous. So I think that's a decent look there.
Yep.
All right, Matt. In the Big West, this was a surprisingly competitive series early in the season. UC Riverside and Hawaii. Hawaii split with them. The second game went to overtime, nearly got a sweep. I like this Riverside team, but it seemed like Hawaii was their kryptonite. You think there's something to say here?
I do have Hawaii for small at +5. I guess I'll add as an official show play. I'll just rack with a big old slate today. It's just a good matchup. I think, as you mentioned, they have a lot of long, athletic, versatile wings that seems to match up with Riverside's length as well. It feels like a rock fight. A little worried about, I don't think there's home court advantage here, but Hawaii playing on the mainland, you could argue there's maybe a slight home lean there for the massive disparity in travel there. But I'm going to take Hawaii +5. I think it just plays closer to the pick'em.
Fair enough. Ky, what about in the MAC, Buffalo and Miami of Ohio? I keep thinking the Buffalo spreads are high. Maybe I just need to catch up on the power rating because I do think that team is awesome. Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think here?
I know it's ridiculous. Odds makers have been higher than us in all season on Buffalo, which seems crazy to me. Staying away because I didn't make it high enough. I don't want to fade Buffalo right now.
Yeah. All right. What else? Matthew, another Big Ten game. Penn State and Wisconsin. Lake Show Magazine asked about the under specifically. Do you have any feel on total or side if you got something?
No, nothing. I really don't, Jim. I'm sorry. No profound takes for me here. I'm trying to kind of just grasp this massive slate. There's too many damn games and the board's flying right now.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of lean under there a little bit, but I think both teams have routes to points. It's going to be a slow tempo though. Penn State had that big comeback yesterday. I'm laughing at the chat because Andrew Steinberg is having a conniption at his keyboard, repeatedly typing Arizona State and Oregon. I like the chat mobber that said, out of principle, please do not talk about that game. We will still talk about it, but that made me laugh.
I like it.
Thank you for that.
I like it.
And Anthony Trecci asking about Southern Utah and Northern Colorado, another early game here in the Big Sky. Yeah. The Bears rolled in a shootout, a surprising shootout yesterday, Ky. Southern Utah doesn't play any defense. Do we see another shootout?
Well, Northern Colorado's a bet for me, +7. This spread's too big. Southern Utah's been awesome this year. They out-athlete Northern Colorado pretty much every position. But UNC, yes, the real UNC is not devoid of talent. This team was supposed to be top 3, top 4 in the Big Sky this season. They were into some bad COVID injuries or COVID luck. They still were competitive all year, even beat Eastern Washington. I think this team's better than this spread suggests. And I would take Northern Colorado +7. Jim, I hope they stay hot. They were like 60% from 3 yesterday, so that would definitely help.
Yeah, the entire Big Sky has been one of the hottest shooting conferences lately. I mean, the tournament's been ridiculous. I think Ken Pom tweeted that the Northern Colorado game was the highest shooting percentage from deep in a game all season combined between the two teams. So we'll see if that continues. Ky, I lean heavily your way on Northern Colorado.
I'm going to add it as a show play. So Ky, I'm with you. It's an enormous spread. I made this like 2.5. Obviously, the back-to-back spot concerns me. They don't really guard anything. Sacramento State got what they wanted inside pretty much at will. Southern Utah has the athletes to do the same, but I just think the line's way too high.
Yep, I agree, but I won't make a consensus because that seems to go poorly when we do that recently. We were winners on our consensus plays early in the year, but we're back to like 500 on them, so I'm not going to do it. Two bros asking about Cuse and Virginia, big game in the ACC. Syracuse definitely seeking a tournament bid. Ky, how do you see them matching up, or how do you see Virginia matching up with the 2-3 zone?
They can shoot, they can rebound. I don't know. I don't have much information or analysis in this matchup, Jim. Syracuse has impressed me more lately. I'll give them that. It's a team I was fading a lot lately, but they played a lot better. So I will stay away from this matchup. I always lean Virginia out of principle here in the ACC tournament, but staying away.
I kind of do too. Guys, Matt, instant reaction. Duke season is over. Positive COVID test.
Wow.
That is confirmed by Mr. Goodman. Wow. Not playing today. Game is off.
I'm actually glad. I was annoyed with the tease that was the last 2 days. So I just want to look forward to next season. That's fine. I'm okay with that. One less team to handicap as well.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is a Coach K ploy, Jim, I think. He saw the writing on the wall.
Absolutely.
Now they can just blame COVID.
Yeah. All right, Ky, I will take you back, or I'll let you take it back to the outline. I'll continue to assemble chat mob questions.
Let's do it. Let's go to the SEC. Mississippi State versus Kentucky. The Wildcats, minus 2.5-point favorites. Actually, wow, it's actually skyrocketed since pre-show. It's up to 3.5, 4 now in favor of Kentucky. My first question, guys, can Kentucky win the SEC title? Stranger things have happened. That Georgia team, like a decade ago, won it and then got a 14 seed in the dance. Mississippi State plays very ugly, Jim. It's a physical style. They have two really good scorers in Stewart and Molinar, but I don't know if that style is going to work very well against Kentucky. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of buy Kentucky a little bit here. I think they make a run. They kind of do a similar thing to Duke where they get a couple wins to get people talking at least. I don't think they actually win the SEC tournament, but they can beat Mississippi State here. They beat them early in the year. That was kind of when Dante Allen was finally unleashed. He's fallen out of the rotation for the most part recently, but this Kentucky team has found an identity with Isaiah Jackson in the lane. Yep. I think that frustrates Mississippi State trying to drive it. So I would lean towards Kentucky, but once it got over 3, I was not interested because, it got bet up, like you said.
Yeah, I think the Jackson presence up front, Jim, makes Molinar and Stewart have to settle for jumpers. They can they're really good shot makers, but a recipe for an efficient offense is not a bunch of pull-up 2-point Jay. So I do think Kentucky has an edge from that side of the ball, but the value's been pretty much sucked out at 3.5 right now. So stay away from me, Ky.
All right. I will move on down the rundown. Nevada versus Boise State. Huge matchup in the Mountain West. Boise, they've lost 3 in a row, guys, and now are in jeopardy of missing the dance. Probably need to win this game. It's going to be a tough one against Nevada, who is up 2-0 in the series, Matt. But I will say this. Nevada has been much, much, much better at home this season. They got Boise twice at home. Sherfield, 25 points per game in those 2 matchups. On neutral floor, it's probably a different story. 4 points, though, might be a little bit too much for Boise State. What do you think?
Yeah, Nevada looked like Boise's matchup kryptonite in the regular season. They just have a lot of size up front, and Boise, while they're long and they're versatile and kind of multi-positional, they don't really have that true bruising big guy. Armis is solid, but he's been exposed in a few of the matchups in the Mountain West against Nevada, against Utah State, and against San Diego State at times. If you're buying into the it's hard to beat a team 3 times narrative, which you shouldn't, that's not actually a real thing, then maybe you side with Boise here. I think the number does favor Boise. I just have them rated fairly highly. I think this is a spot where they play well, Jim. But the matchup concerns regular season do kind of give me the heebie-jeebies. So, again, I will be a lame fence rider here.
Yeah, I'm with you pretty much exactly. Like where my number is up around 6, and I should maybe take it, but the matchup concerns were very real this year. I think Zane Meek's health is still a little bit of a question for Nevada, but their backcourt, man, Sherfield is just dominant. He's the cover photo on our video today. They could not guard him. So I'm probably going to stay away because every time I watch Nevada, I'm just like, wow, this team is solid and they make shots. They are tough to deal with. So, yeah, I'll stay away too.
Moving down the rundown, Ohio versus Kent State. The Bobcats are actually favored in this game by 2. I don't know about this one, guys. I thought Kent State should have been favored, but then I looked at their games against actual good teams here, Jim. Akron, Ball State, and Buffalo haven't gone well since Mike Nuga's been out of the lineup. They've beaten we've said directional Michigan schools. Yeah. But I kind of agree with the odds makers now that Ohio should be favored. They're going to force turnovers. They can rebound with Kent State, which is huge. Give Danny Pippen some resistance. It's a bad matchup for Kent State, Jim. Do you have a lean either way on the side?
If I knew everybody was healthy, then I would be Kent State, and that excludes Nuga. But the season finale, Pippen and Hamilton did not play. They're starting in front court, and the quotes afterwards from Senderoff were like, we expected to have them, but then we didn't, so we had to figure it out. Like he didn't say if it was injury. He didn't say if it was COVID. It was very, very mysterious and shady. So I don't know how you know for sure. I mean, possibly a speculative play with Ohio there, because if those two are out, I think Ohio can probably crush them. So keep an eye on the health status there.
Yep, I do lean Ohio. I actually picked them to win this tournament for our site, so I kind of have to stand by that here for my official lean. But no show play for me. I think if Danny Pippen is in there and fully healthy, and maybe Senderoff's playing like a rope-a-dope gamesmanship with the cryptic messaging.
Maybe it was just rest.
Yeah, it could just be rest. And Pippen he's a guy that's been pretty fragile his entire career. He has really achy knees, but when he's healthy and locked in, he's a one-man wrecking crew. A guy I don't know Ohio has an answer for defensively. So yeah, it's that gives me a little bit of a pause here.
Ky. All right, guys, let's head to our best bet section. Sorry, I was looking at lines trying to decide where my numbers are at for my best bet.
There you
Jim,
go.
Let's go to you first. What do you got?
All right, I'm going to the Big East. I am going to take Georgetown. It's kind of all over the place from what I'm seeing. I see anywhere between 7.5 and 8.5. I'm going to take 8.5 because I see a couple books where that's available. Georgetown plus 8.5. I think they're playing well right now. They are a pretty solid underdog to back usually. And Villanova without Gillespie and Moore, I just think that's really going to short circuit their offense against the length of Georgetown. I will ride with the Hoyas, and then I also took Michigan State earlier in the show, -1. Why not? Because we couldn't figure out what that number was at, so I'll just take -1.
Yeah, I'm there as well, Jim. Michigan State -1/+1, -1. Hawaii +5, Seton Hall -2, and my official best bet, I'm not sure we endorsed this. I may have blacked out earlier. I am stoned, apparently, per the chat mob today. So in that vein.
I've been all year, apparently, Matt.
Yeah, no, I just took the mantle from you. I appreciate you passing that over to me. But yeah, I'll be on the beach today, Jim. +14, mega spread.
Wow.
And I know UC Santa Barbara has just waxed the lower tier teams in that conference, but Long Beach has a lot of talent. I think they're a team that's pretty undervalued right now. Finally has some semblance of a nucleus, some continuity in their practice schedule. They've had, I think, 3 or 4 COVID pauses this season. Monson's been frustrated all year long. Just think it's a great time for them to play well, and they did in the opening round against CSUN. I think they continue that today.
And you took Northern Colorado as well, correct?
Northern Colorado, thank you. I knew I had one more on there. God, big slate again. Yikes.
Picks today, show picks. I had Northern Colorado +7. You know what? I had another pick as well, guys, and I can't remember what it was. I'd have to go back in the show and check that out. But my best bet today is Oklahoma +3. Going to go with it. No David McCormick for Kansas. I think this spread is, assuming he is playing. Just look at KenPom, for instance, -3. And I don't buy into Oklahoma's KenPom ranking that much. They've had a little bit of a slide here. Yeah. I still think they're a very, very good team. Very well coached, play very good defense. And McCormick was a tough matchup for them. With him out, certainly goes towards their favor. And I love guards like Harmon, Reeves, Gibson, Harkless in March. You give me 3 points. I'll like that. Oklahoma +3, best bet.
Attaboy. Lean that way. Not going to join you, but I lean that way.
Oh, sorry. Harry reminded me. Temple. Geez, Temple -1.5 is my other bet. Thank you. How can I forget Temple? That's ridiculous. All right, Temple, Northern Colorado, Oklahoma for me so far. I'm sure I'll add one more with the chat mob here. But, Jim, all right, speaking of, let's finish up chat mob.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot, so we can fly through them. Thomas Johnson, Florida and Vanderbilt in the SEC. Scottie Pippen just got that team kind of on a mission right now. Ky, anything for you here with the fighting Commodores?
No. Impressive win against Texas A&M. Took care of business there, but no play here for me, Jim, today.
All right, Matt, Going to you for we're finally going to do. We're going to do it. We're going to discuss Oregon, Arizona State. The Sun Devils kind of escaped yesterday. I was not terribly impressed by them. Oregon, tough team to prepare for. Short rest against Dana Altman. Do you think the Ducks blow them out?
I don't. I think the line's pretty damn spot on. I think it plays around that 8 to 12 point range most of the way. Arizona State has enough firepower offensively to prevent this from becoming a blowout. Even if Oregon gets up 20, you could see a backdoor, just lurking wide open. So no play here for me.
All righty. Steve Wyatt, Ky, he's asking about a big favorite in the Big 12. Baylor up around -20 in a conference tournament game. That's wild over K-State. Do you think that's too much?
That feels like a little bit too much. Baylor's awesome. Fully awesome. Fully the second best team in the country. That's right, second best. I lean K-State +20.
Yeah, they've been playing a lot better lately, but Baylor did kind of murder them earlier in the season. So we'll see what happens there. No strong lean for me. Barry Smith, Ky, I'm going to keep it to you in the MAC, asking about Rider and St. Peter's. Boy, we don't really trust St. Peter's as a favorite, do we?
No, not at all. And Rider, man, wow. Talk about a surprising result over Canisius in round one. The MAC in general has been ridiculous this conference tournament. Fairfield just beat Monmouth by almost 20 yesterday. I know nothing. I wasn't on Monmouth, but my God, I was not expecting that. That's ridiculous. I kind of lean towards Rider, Jim, because like you said, St. Peter's just an awful, awful big favorite.
Yeah. I just don't want to trust that team.
Fairfield took my money 2 straight days. I'm tired of fading them. That's all I got.
Were we talking about Fairfield? You confused me.
Sorry. I was piggybacking off Ky's Monmouth point. We are now, Jim. We're now talking about Fairfield.
All right. Nick Condon wants to know about Lamar, Sam Houston. It feels a little high for me. Lamar playing back to preseason expectations a little bit. Nice double-digit win yesterday over Houston Baptist. I would lean towards Lamar. Anything for either of you?
Lean Lamar, team playing closer to where we thought in the offseason. Classic spot or a classic type of prototype that you wanted back here.
One more MAC question. I think we've got all of them except this one from Jack Falk. Akron and Bowling Green. Bowling Green, another team that's playing back to preseason expectations. Ky, they were one of the favorites when they got Justin Turner back from the transfer portal. Akron, I love Lauren Christian Jackson, but his supporting cast is really hot and cold. What do you think here?
Yeah, Jim, Bowling Green has been pretty hot lately down the stretch. I tend to think they get it going here and play to that preseason expectation. So I lean Bowling Green +2.
I do too. After the whole defensive lapse they had in February or January, they've started really figured out on that end. Justin Turner, obviously, juice can go off at any moment. I think Bowling Green has some value today.
Yeah, I lean that way. Larry Gibson wants to know about USC Utah in the Pac-12. Utah probably without Ryland Jones again. They were very solid yesterday before, as mentioned in the chat, kind of collapsed on the cover late. Do we think they can handle the size of USC?
I don't know. USC, I've sort of one of those teams I've faded a little bit too often this season. I'm kind of just done with that. I need to buy into them being really good. Ky?
No take here.
All right, Ky, what about Tulsa Tulane? This is coming quite a bit.
Here we go.
Hot and heavy in the chat.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. I'm taking Tulsa, and I hate it. Line's too short for me. -3.5. I made this spread a little higher. I don't like Tulsa. I don't like Frank Haith, but I think it's too short. Tulane's a great dog. No question about it. First game was ugly. Tulsa shot terribly. Tulane was on fire. Tulsa also shot 7 free throws that game, 2 for 7 from the line. I don't think any of that's sustainable. So Tulsa -3.5 is my final play of the show.
Yeah, don't watch this game, folks. That's all.
Don't watch it. I'm not going to watch this game.
All right, one more each for both of you. Matt, Light the Lamp wants to know in the ACC, Georgia Tech and Miami, Florida. Can the Canes keep this late season?
Yes, they can, baby.
Going?
I'm worried they're going to run out of gas at some point, basically using their 5.5-man rotation. We were laughing at how a walk-on random appearance like a Pokemon in the wild grass fields or something made it 3. So, yeah, they're up against it. But they are good. And I think this is Larinaga has the boys playing well. This is definitely the one last stand mantra that they've rallied around. I think the Canes have value here.
Yeah, I might lean towards under there, too, with their limited rotation, short rests, tricky defense. Last one for you, Ky. Jim Bean, Utah State and UNLV out here in the desert. Bryce Hamilton played fantastic yesterday, and that's kind of the key that unlocks UNLV's offense. Do you think they battle with Utah State, who is desperate to get a win for the NCAA tournament?
Spread's high enough, 10.5. I lean Utah State, though. I think Utah State's going to be locked in for the MWC tournament. I think they make the championship and play San Diego State and hopefully win. I'd love to see them in the dance. Craig Smith's one of our guys. So lean Utah State.
I don't know if I'm not updated, but I see it at 8.5. So that would be very, very much value for Utah State there.
It's either you or me, one or the other.
Yeah. All right, folks. That is. We're going to wrap it up. That is so many chat questions. We appreciate you coming in and asking. Hey. Fire away on Twitter at us if we did not get to a question. So, for sure. Ky, let's wrap it up.
Yes, sir. Hey, thanks a lot for joining us. We have one more show this week. That is tomorrow on Friday at 9 a.m. Central. Please do like the channel before you go and subscribe to SBR Sports Picks. Also, sbrpicks.com/NCAAB is where you can go for college basketball content. Also, sbrpicks.com/March-Madness is where you want to be on your internet sites for March. We'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central. Have a good one.